Welcome to Fox Valley in Focus. I'm Barb Nadeau, your host for today's show, and we're going to talk with two gentlemen today about making a difference in your community and across the world. Our guests include Jerry Lundeen, a board member for Food Resource Bank, and Dr. Tom Brooks, who is president of the North Aurora Lions Club, and we're going to get started in just a second.
Now, come on. All right, I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still, love. 1 second, I know. Just hang on. Okay, go, go, go. No. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Our first guest today is Jerry Lundeen. He's a board member for Food Resource Bank. And Jerry, before the show, you were telling me you wear more than one hat. So first of all, I want to say welcome to Fox Valley in Focus, and then tell me a little bit more about what you do for Food Resource Bank.
Food Resource Bank, I'm a leader of the local area growing project called Salmonac Growing Project. And that involves all the area communities around us. Several churches are involved from Aurora and the Salmonac, Sandwich, Plano, Leland area, as well as others. So we've got about 21 churches involved in our growing project. And then for the board, I sit on the board. I also serve on the finance committee and the field volunteer committee.
Okay, so you live in the far western area of our viewing audience, and as you said, you are representing several of our farm community members out in that area. And then you said 21 churches all the way up through the Aurora area?
Sure,
And what type of churches are involved in this project?
We're a non-denominational Christian organization, so we have different denominations involved in our growing project. I think there's 8 or 9 different denominations. So it's kind of nice that we can play nice with each other, and this is one way to do it.
Okay, so it's any church is welcome to get involved in this Food Resource Bank or this growing project. And so these are two different concepts. A growing project is more local, and then Food Resource Bank is the bigger
the growing
organization?
project is a means of raising money to support our sustainable ag development programs overseas in the developing countries.
So you don't have to be a farmer to be
No,
involved in this at all?
Without a doubt. It's a combination of farmers, businessmen, just individuals, urban and rural churches kind of partnering together, as different means of raising money, basically.
So what does Food Resource Bank do?
Okay, well, basically we are all about sustainable ag development, which really means we're helping people feed themselves. So you've heard the expression, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. Well, we're even go past that a little bit because we want to give him the tools to fish too. So a lot of our components involved education, means to go further. So we want to give them the full package of tools to become self-sufficient.
Really, really interesting, because you're right. There are a lot of philanthropic organizations that will just ship food to someone. But then do they get the food, and then do they know what to do with the food? Now you're going to actually be on the ground teaching them, but not only that, you're giving them resources, like tangible things like wells and equipment.
And education. And
okay.
We looked at direct food aid too, and there's a need for that. If I'm starving, I can't wait to grow a crop to eat. So, but this is a long-term solution. How our program kind of works is we have a lot of mainline Christian organizations that already have boots in the ground in these developing countries. So we're not trying to add staff or reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
So what it is they'll get the villagers together, and they'll it's like a grant application. So they'll say, this is what we'll need in X number of years, and this is what we'll do to be self-sufficient. And so it's them coming together to solve their problem rather than us saying, well, if you do this, you'll be okay. Because if we say, if you do this, you'll be okay, and it doesn't work, whose fault is it? It's ours. And so they have more skin in the game. It's their plan. And so they make sure it does work.
Because they know where they live, they know the climate, but they also know
do.
the politics, they know the mood of the people, they know how the people operate and what they think. So they
Yeah.
know what's going to work.
Yeah, a lot of this really, it's almost like community development because when we first go in there, they don't think they have any gifts, any assets at all. So you have to really work with them to discover what talents and assets they have. They might have land, but they just might not know the correct production techniques to use. Or they might need help, especially like in sub-Saharan Africa, they might need a water component of some kind.
So that's where that education comes in, because they may have never had the concept of, well, wait a minute, maybe I can get water this way or I can do it that way.
Or
and so-
conservation farming is a big thing. We all do things because we've always done it that way. Through education, we can help show maybe a little bit better way for things to work.
This is really interesting. How did you find Food Resource Bank? How did you get involved?
Well, I learned about it basically on, I think it was on a television show. Orion Samuelson kind of narrated this program, and so it just was something that made sense. I'm a farm boy growing up in rural Illinois. It's hard to fathom in the breadbasket that we live in that people would not have enough food. So it just is a passion that we need to help people become food secure.
How long ago was that? How many years ago?
It's about a dozen years ago.
Really? And so now, Food Resource Bank globally, where are you touching across the globe?
It's mostly in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, both East and West Coast. We go into South and Central America, Haiti. We also are in Asia, India, Cambodia, Vietnam. Believe it or not, we had one project for a while in North Korea, which was kind of unique. But
I wish I had all day to talk to you because I want to know where you've traveled and what you've done, but I also want to learn about something that you recently did in Sandwich and also something you're going to be doing coming up this October. So let's take a break and we'll come back with all of that right after this.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Welcome back. We're talking with Jerry Lundeen. He is a volunteer leader for the Salmonak Area Growing Project and also a board member for Food Resource Bank. We've been talking about this global initiative to make a difference in food security for people in need all over the world. And Jerry, one of the things I found on your website when I was looking around before this interview was something about a Next 1 Million initiative. What is that?
yeah, it's interesting. In the 15 short years of our existence, we've helped over 1 million people become food secure. That means, I didn't have enough to eat. I was suffering from hunger and malnutrition, and now I don't need your help anymore. That's 1 million people. I mean, I think that's an incredible number.
And they're sustainable.
They're sustainable. They don't need our help. And the average cost per person through our program is $55. So that's just an incredible number to me. For $55 a person.
You can make someone sustainable for a lifetime.
For a lifetime.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's about $10 a person a year, and the project's average between 3 to 5 years. So that's the kind of the $55 number. And so the people we're working with earn less than $300 a year. So it doesn't take much to change their life. Mm-hmm. So basically, as my wife Tony likes to say, for our couch change, we can change somebody's life.
Yeah. Move those cushions. Start
Yeah,
looking.
start looking.
Start looking now. You just had a meeting in Sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
You were very excited about it. We talked a few weeks ago, and you were very excited about that meeting that you orchestrated, I think, over there at Timber Creek in Sandwich, Illinois. What was that all about?
That was our annual meeting, annual gathering. So we had people come from all across not only the U.S., but some of the projects we're helping overseas to tell their story. The Friday night event was the social event. This is a very social group. And as you work with charitable people, they're the best people in the world that you'll ever work with, you know, and so it becomes like a family. And so the Friday night was a social event, so we had it at the Sandwich Fairgrounds, which was a unique setting, and we had an auction to help raise money for, they call it a partner-to-partner program. So just like, you know, we learn from other people in our country, we try to send people in some of these developing countries to neighboring countries so they can learn from each other a little bit too.
And now you're getting ready for a harvest celebration in October.
Yeah, that's our kind of gathering of all our churches come together for, we call it a harvest celebration. We start with a worship service at 10 o'clock because we are a Christian organization, so it's kind of unique to have a multi-denominational service with so many people involved just in the service itself. That day is one of our means to raise money for the project and the people we want to help. So we get pork donated, we get buns donated, we get everything really donated for the whole event, and then we just ask for a free will offering.
So is this something that the area churches that are involved in Food Resource Bank get involved in, or is this something that's open to the public?
Both. It's open to the public.
Okay.
And we try to make this a very fun, family-oriented event because I don't know where you could book a combine ride.
Oh, wow.
So we'll give combine rides as we combine the corn. We do things like shear sheep. We'll mill some wheat, and then we take that flour and give to the churches to make communion bread. We make apple cider. We have a lot of ag-type educational displays on hand. I think we have some wool felting. We've got soy candles. We've got goat milk soap and lotion. So it's a kind of an education, and it's kind of coming together of the rural and urban people. So if you really have a question, you can ask a real farmer, and he'll give you, why we do the things on the farm we do.
Well, I think it's pretty sweet because a lot of our fall events involve spooky characters, and this is something that you can really enjoy your area. You can learn a lot about Illinois. You can enjoy the great outdoors, and then you can also feel like you're doing something good for the world. I mean, you can do something good for your family, for your children, and you can do something good for the world at the same time.
Right, and this is a rain or shine event. We've been very fortunate. We've got several farmers that have large machine sheds, so we set up in there. So we're kind of weatherproof if it rains or something, but one of the things we end up with is a pie auction. And this is something I learned by going to another annual meeting for FRB that somebody had a pie auction. I thought, well, that's kind of neat. So the first year we had, about a few pies. We made $500. Thought, well, that was worth doing. So let's do that again. And that was $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, $7,000. Last couple of years, it's been about $10,000 just
in pie.
In pies. We got 42 pies. So people bid $400 or $500 on a pie, but it's not about the pie, even though they're wonderful. It's about the cause. So it's been a fun way to make a donation.
And the best tasting pie you'll ever have.
You bet.
When is this?
It is
happen?
October 15th.
Okay.
And it's going to be at the Kurt and Deb Larson farm, which is just south of 34, just east of Earlville.
Okay. So where would we find more information? Are you on Facebook? Are you on the web?
It's on the web. It's
Okay.
on foodsresourcebank.org.
Okay.
And then there'll be click on Growing Project events, and we'll be there.
Okay, foodresourcebank.org. Jerry Lundine's been our guest today. We'll be back with more on Fox Valley in Focus right after this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barb.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Dr. Tom Brooks joins us now. He's the president of the North Aurora Lions Club. And Dr. Brooks, thanks for being here. Can I call you Tom?
You sure can.
Thanks for being here on our show today. I'm anxious to learn more about your club. I've been involved in not in Lions, but in service clubs my whole life, and I don't know, that mission, of serving other people is something that is part of who I am, and so I'm interested in learning more about what's going on with your club.
Well, our club is, I think, a fairly typical Lions club. We started in 1959, and presently we have about 49 members at this point.
Wow, 49 members in a service club these days. That's fantastic.
Well, if all 49 were active, that would be great. Unfortunately, we're a typical service club, and we don't have 100% activity, but we get a lot done, and we have, I think, a good impact in our community, which is really a strong part of the Lions mission too. We were talking about what that is, and generally people associate vision and even hearing with the Lions Club mission, but actually originally it was described as a humanitarian association, and it wasn't until 1925 that the vision and hearing part developed, so it wasn't even part of the original situation.
You're right. We do think about hearing aids and eyesight predominantly, but I've heard that you can toss in old hearing aids into those boxes that sometimes we see in our community. Does your club do that as well?
We do. People still provide eyeglasses at eyeglass drops and all of that type of thing. All of these are collected by all the clubs in the area and then ultimately go to the international organization where they're classified or reworked in whatever way to be functional for people in third world countries, I'm assuming, and perhaps even within our own country too.
We don't think about what that means, but that has got to be a big organization. What a chore. We just think about dropping them. We don't think about what happens to them next. So behind the scenes, behind these volunteers in their local community, there's a lot of work being done.
Well, and while I myself have not participated in one yet, I hear that each year the South Elgin Lions Club, for instance, has helped process 100,000 or more eyeglasses and so forth, packs them all up. And our club contributes to that number, and I'm sure others do. I think they're all collected and then reworked there.
So that's something you can get involved in. If you are a member of a Lions Club, you can go that next step and get involved in something like that if you wanted to.
Absolutely,
that's pretty neat. But you said humanitarianism was the first mission. So what are some of the causes that are near and dear to your club?
Well, I think that our primary focus is in the community itself. So that seems to be where a lot of our dollars go. We talked in the earlier conversation, there was a conversation about fundraising, and the Lions is in the same type of area of raising funds to provide the community with services. So in our community of North Aurora, for instance, the community information sign on the intersection of 56 and 31 was a Lions Club initiative back in 1980 something, and the Christmas tree on top of the silo downtown and the flag at the end of Route 56. These are some of the community initiatives that our club has been involved in the past. We support kids baseball, we support Waubonsee community students. These are, I have a list of a dozen things that we've done in our community here within the last year even. Supporting North Aurora Days as a celebration of our community, that type of thing. So that is where we've been focusing in the recent years.
So little and big things, fundraisers, and then just helping and beautifying your community, making it more community focused. And so for someone watching this show in North Aurora, next time they drive down the street, they should maybe notice some of these things that their community would be poorer without, but they've got it because of the Lions.
Right, and actually I think that what we're going to be trying to do, we talked about the centennial celebration of Lions as an organization off stage, and that's happening in 2017. The group was formed in 1917. And so we're going to be trying, one of the things as a president is that I decided that I would try to follow somebody else's idea and ask our newer members to create a community project of their own that they could try to bring to fruition within this next year. And then the International Lions asked each club to do its own centennial project. So I thought, well, that's a good blend of things, you know, we can call their project our centennial project. So that's in the works. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I hope it's going to be something that, again, benefits the community on the behalf of our Lions Club.
It's going to be interesting to watch. Dr. Tom Brooks is our guest today. He's president of the North Aurora Lions Club. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to have more right after this.
Now, come on. All right, I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still, love. 1 second, I know. Just hang on. Okay, good. Okay, go. Boys, hang on, boys!
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Tom Brooks. He's the president of the North Aurora Lions Club, and we've been talking about lions and then also your veterinary clinic in North Aurora during our break. And so, Dr. Brooks, it's just fun to talk about just the community and the love of the community. You're a North Aurora boy. You're just there for the duration, and you're doing something to help other people. And this is fun to talk to you about your club. I wanted to ask you, why did you become a member of the Lions, and how did you become president?
Well, that is a story longer than you have time for, I'm afraid, but I can tell you that I was asked to become a Lion back in 1983, and I thought that being somewhat new in the community, it would be an opportunity for me to meet other people and also help the community. I have probably been, that seed was planted in me about helping communities a long time ago by, I don't know whom, probably parents, I don't know. But at any rate, I joined the club in '83. I was very active initially because I had little kids, and then those little kids got bigger, and I got into Boy Scouting, which I took a hiatus from the club for probably 25 years and did scouting more. And now I'm back, and so then I promised to be active, and I am, and then therefore that makes me become a person who gets to be the president at some point, which I'm glad to do because I feel like our club's important in the community, and I think that we have a lot more that we can offer to the community. I'm really trying to help us as a group pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. You mentioned, I think earlier too, a lot of service clubs are having difficulty keeping membership and all of that. It's a challenge in all service organizations, and we're no different in that respect. But we're hoping to infuse fun into the group again. We want to try to make it more fun than what we've had. We want to make it be also more pertinent to the community. It seems to be the biggest focus. We talked about the vision and hearing types of things. Those are important to us too, but ironically the requests for eyeglasses from the community has fallen away, and same for hearing aids. We just don't get a lot of that anymore. So if there's any way that this can help to publicize that we're there to help with those sorts of things, that we would like to do.
I hope so too, and you know, I think that's something that you always have to reteach a new generation. I think there's a lot of people who are our age or younger that have no idea that they can be recycling these things. So I'm so glad that you're here on our show today to talk about it, and hopefully everyone watching the show will spread the word. You know, this is what you can do. You can actually make some use of those items and share them.
Well, Helen Keller was the person who initiated this hearing and sight initiative for the Lions clubs back in 1925. She, of course, also many generations ago that none of us would know, but she was a heck of a person to be able to do what she did in her life with her handicaps, and I think that still has then kind of drives the mission for the Lions Clubs.
That is amazing. I didn't realize that that's where it came from, actually from Helen Keller herself, asking the Lions. And you had told me before the show that Lions actually started right in Chicago.
Right, 1917. Yeah, I mentioned too that was a time, a decade really, where there was a lot of social renaissance I felt in the United States because the Kiwanis, the Lions Clubs, the Boy Scouts of America, even the Rotarians were formed between 1905 and 1917. So it was really a big social movement within the United States to start to develop these types of things. And
well,
it was
with
in
the
Chicago.
centennial coming up, I think that's a wonderful time to have another renaissance, time for the rest of the world to get on board and get active.
A local one.
During the break, you were telling me that you have a lot of missions in the community, a lot of things that you do throughout the year, and a lot of different groups that you support.
Well,
I think you mentioned Santa and a few other people.
Breakfast with Santa is something that our Lions Club has done in the community for several years. We support Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We're a charter organization for local Cub Scout Pack 301. We have helped with, oh gosh, I have a list here of food pantries. We do provide medical care for a local guide dog, a leader dog, and support other of the community events like North Aurora Days and the North Aurora River Alliance, all their particular things too. So we try to be active in that regard. And many of our members are members of these other groups too, as you might know, in a smaller community. That's one of the things about North Aurora. It has grown a lot too, and our club has not grown during that time. So we have now, instead of 6,000 people from 1990, now there are 16,000, and our club actually has probably shrunken in size by about 10 since that time period. So we want to get new members in our club, and we accept anyone who has interest in helping in the community, because that's what we really want to do. We want to sincerely be of value in the community. And
so men and women are welcome to join. Where do you meet and when?
Our meeting place is, we have 2 meetings a month. One is a business meeting, one is a dinner meeting. The dinner meetings are at various locations, but the business meetings have been at the North Aurora Library. Right now they're doing some remodeling, but we're going to be meeting, we're going to be remodeling our meeting schedules and structures a bit too, so people should stay tuned. And you tell me that we have a website that I personally have not looked at too much.
Yeah, you have good people helping you, Tom.
Yeah, and I'm not a Facebooker, and we have one of those too. So we know that the younger generation is much more digital than us, and so we encourage them to take advantage of those things and look us up. You don't need to be asked to be a Lions member. You could even ask to be one. If you have that drive and want to help in the community, become a part of the community, I think that's it. And North Aurora is still a small community. All the clubs around the world are. There are 46,000 of them, and a lot of 1.4 million members of the Lions Club International. It's a big group, but we're a small group locally.
Okay, and we can share all, and I believe we have already shared that Facebook and the website on the air. And I just want to thank you so much for being here. This has been fascinating and fun to have you here on our show. And I want to thank you for being with us as well. For Fox Valley Television, I'm Barb Nadeau.